Yes, I. Neguselam. Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome to the state of Neguselam. It is Sunday, the 28th of December, 2025. The time is 1:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also 12:18 Eastern Central Time. So give thanks, welcome in to the state of Neguselam. Neguselam. Yes, I. Aliyah. Chaplain, the floor is yours.
Neguselam, greetings once again to one and all on another blessed rising for I and I to forward and complete our mission bequeathed to we, the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, to His Imperial Majesty as Commander-in-Chief on behalf of the people. Sila, 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 Sila. Give thanks once again in this blessed time for I and I to be able to come forward and perform in an upful manner on behalf of the peace. Selah, Selah, Selah. Yes, I. Once again, welcome. Welcome in, welcome in.
Yes, sir. Neguselam.
Neguselam, let you move. Malcolm Negatu, Abu
Negatu. Tus Kadamawi. Ailiai.
Last side of first, Rastafari. Damn, exhibit.
CM exhibit.
Yes, I. Yes, I give thanks for the state of Neguselam, the Tawahido Negus, and the three Zions. Exodus chapter 25, Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 8, Luke chapter 1, verse 28, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 through 7, Isaiah 43, verse 3, Isaiah chapter 44, verse 6, Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 5. And I am Chaplain Amde Zion Selassie of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated unto His Imperial Majesty as Commander-in-Chief, Local 49, Mahel Safari, Sila, Sila. This is Season 2, Section 4, Part 4, the Tawahido Negus. Every Sunday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Ethiopia time. The Negus Golden Rule. Do not reward evil for evil. Do unto others as you will have done unto you. Sila. The Jajan Shoah. The Deshmat Tafari. Rougher than tougher than I. Merciful I. Ever living, ever faithful I. Judgmental I. For his judgment is that of an angel. Sila. Sila. Fairness, righteousness, and justice. Adhu Ab, well, Memphis Kudus, Highly Akal, Abakudus Kedamawe, Highly Selassie, Siam, Exibia, Bahaman Ab, well, Memphis Kudus, Highly Akal, Abakudus Kedamawe, Highly Selassie, Siam, Exibia. One is the Holy Father, one is the Holy Son, one is the Holy Spirit, through the might and power of divine peace of the Holy Trinity, the Lord's baptized and anointed King Sila. Truly the Father is holy, truly the Son is holy, truly the Holy Irit is holy, through the might and power of divine peace of the Holy Trinity, the Lord's baptized and anointed King, the true and faithful witness Selah, Selah. So be it. Our Father, who dwell in Zion, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will shall be done, throughout earth as it is in Zion. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against thy name. Strengthen us in temptation, and deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever, world without end. Through the true and faithful witness, the might and power of divine peace, the Lord's baptized and anointed King, Abba, Kudus, Gatamare, Katamare, Haile Selassie, Siam, Exhibia, Sila. It's at my back, lightning and thunder, more and besters, the Menegade Suhuda, victory assured, the conquering lion of Judah. Neguselam, Lekulekimu, Malcolm Negatu, Abakudus, Kadamawe, Haile Selassie, Siam, Exhibia. Unigusi Ningesitu Yedeli, Meskeli. Ye Ethiopia, Koheb, Nigusi. Ye Nigusi Kudusi Rede, Amlakana, Hailina, Wasawana, Hasana, Tata Masagana, Amlakana, Hailina, Wasawana, Hasana, Tata Amasagana, Amlakana, Hailina, Wasawana, Hasana, Tata Amasagana, Amlakana, Hailina, Wasawana, Hasana, Tata Amasagana, Amlakana, Hailina, Wasawana, Hasana, Tata, Amasagana, the King of peace, be with us all. Blessed rising with the glorious King, our Holy Father, the glorious, the victorious, first might and power of the Holy Trinity, the Lord's baptized and anointed Negus, the Negus cross of victory, Ethiopia Star King, the Emperor's holy coronation, our God, our strength, our protector. How beautiful are the feet of him that stand upon the mountains of Antautau, feet like unto burnt brass, who come with the good tidings of peace and of joy and of freedom, who comes in the most powerful name of our Amlak. Hasana, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Negus, Abeta Israel. Glory in the highest to our God, our strength, our protector. How beautiful are the feet of him that stand upon the mountains of Antautau, feet like unto burnt brass, who come with the good tidings of peace and of joy and of freedom, who comes in the most powerful name of our Amlak. Hasana. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Negus of better Israel. Glory in the highest to our God, our strength, our protector. How beautiful are the feet of him that stand upon the mountains of Antautau, feet like unto burnt brass, who come with the good tidings of peace and of joy and of freedom, who comes in the most powerful name of our Amlak. Hasana. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Negus of better Israel. Glory in the highest to our God, our strength, our protector. How beautiful are the feet of him that stand upon the mountains of Antautau, feet like unto burnt brass, who come with the good tidings of peace and of freedom and of joy, who comes in the most powerful name of our Amlak. Hasana. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Negus of better Israel. Glory in the highest to our God, our strength, our protector. How beautiful are the feet of him that stand upon the mountains of Antautau, feet like burnt brass, who come with the good tidings of peace and of joy and of freedom, who comes in the most powerful name of our Amlak. Hasana. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the King of better Israel. Glory in highest. Highly high, highly high, highly high. La, 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 see la. Ethiopia star king. For we, the black peoples of the world, in order to effect unity, solidarity, liberty, freedom, and self-determination, to secure justice and maintain the integrity of Ethiopia, which is our divine heritage, do hereby establish, uphold, and ordain this Constitution for the Ethiopian World Federation, incorporated unto His Imperial Majesty as Commander-in-Chief of the Ethiopian Mahale Safari forces, in accordance with the 1931 Ethiopian Constitution, Chapter 2, Powers and Prerogatives of the Emperor, Article 29. The Emperor reserves the right, with the advice and consent of Parliament, to declare war. He further reserves the right to decide what armed forces shall be maintained both in times of peace and in times of war. As Commander-in-Chief of the armed forces, he has the right to organize and command the said forces, to commission and to confer military rank upon the officers of the said forces, and to promote, transfer, or dismiss any of the said officers. He has further the right to declare a state of siege, martial law, or national emergency, and to take such measures as are necessary to meet a threat to the defense or integrity of the empire, and to assure its defense and integrity. Fireball. Hot. Article 30. The emperor exercises the supreme direction of the foreign relations of the empire. The emperor accredits and receives ambassadors, ministers, and missions. He alone has the right to settle disputes with foreign powers by adjudication and other peaceful means, and provides for and agrees to measures of cooperation with foreign powers for the realization of the ends of security and common defense. He alone has the right to ratify, on behalf of Ethiopia, treaties and other international agreements, and to determine which treaties and international agreements shall be subject to ratification before becoming binding upon the empire. However, all treaties of peace and all treaties of international agreements involving a modification of the territory of the empire or of sovereignty jurisdiction over any part of such territory, or laying a burden on Ethiopian subjects personally, or modifying legislation in existence, or requiring expenditures of state funds, or involving loans or monopolies, shall before becoming binding upon the empire and the inhabitants thereof be laid before Parliament, and if both houses of Parliament shall approve the same in accordance with the provisions of the Articles 88 through 90, inclusive of the present Constitution, shall then be submitted to the Emperor for ratification. Selah, Selah. Therefore, the King, His Imperial Majesty, Abakudus Kadamawe, Haile Selassie Siam, Exhibir, established us as part of His Imperial Mahel Tafari army as an auxiliary force who know how to use modern weapons and safeguards Ethiopia's divine heritage according to the 1931 Ethiopian Constitution, and to help with medical supplies during the Italian-Ethiopian War, to help the wounded. In that time, they didn't have a Red Cross set up for the Black Ethiopians in a modern war with the enemy using poison gas, mustard gas on them, and other unlawful means of war at the time. News of the week in review from 1935, Thursday, Tuesday, I pray that October 6th, 1935. The news of the week in review. The diet cast. Ethiopia strives to repulse the invaders. The Lion of Judah and his warriors against the war beast of Rome, Benito Mussolini, and the wolves of Rome. Word from the Mashafa Bahan, Book of Light, Fireball, Isaiah 25, verse 8. He will swallow up death in victory, and Siam Exhibir will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth, for the Lord has spoken it. Fireball. Ye Negusi Negestitu, Yedeli Meskeli. The emperor's cross of victory. Victory assured Ethiopian Star King Fireball. The star of victory, 1941. May 5th, Fireball. Ethiopia Liberation, 1941. Chapter 2, Powers and Prerogatives of the Emperor in accordance with loyalty to the throne. I of the Ethiopian World Federation incorporated into His Imperial Majesty as Commander-in-Chief in accordance with the 1931 Constitution, Article 29 and Article 30. Thus, in Article 31, we was given a land grant, a promise of land grant. Article 31. D. The Emperor also make grants from abandoned properties and properties in escrow for the purpose of recompensing faithful service to the crown. Fireball. Star King of Ethiopia. Article 31. The land grant. D. The Emperor also makes grants from abandoned properties and properties in escrow for the purpose of recompensing faithful service to the crown. Reward for the Armageddon War. Highly I. The promised land. Yes, I. The Ethiopian World Federation incorporated into His Imperial Majesty as Commander-in-Chief of the Imperial Ethiopian Mahel Safari. The King's mission. For we, the Black peoples of the world, in order to effect unity, solidarity, liberty, freedom, and self-determination, to secure justice and maintain the integrity of Ethiopia, which is our divine heritage, do hereby establish and uphold and ordain this Constitution for the Ethiopian World Federation, incorporated into His Imperial Majesty, given to we as our holy patrimony, a reward given to we after the great holy matrimony of the bridegroom cometh with his bride, the church, and the country, and the queen. Sila, for our Imaya Ethiopia, the virgin mother country, unpolluted by Rome, and our virgin mother church, oldest Hebrew Christianity extant, unpolluted by Rome, Sila, and the bloodline, Sila, crowning of the Empress, Waleta Georgius, Empress Menen, Sila, the holy patrimony given from the holy hand of the holy Neguselam. Patrimony, definition, noun, property inherited from one's father or male ancestor. Understand that. Heritage, an organization that saves the world's cultural patrimony by restoring historic buildings. Fireball, they shall raise up the tabernacles of old, which are His people. Sila, understand this. A land grant and a holy organization given unto we the black peoples of the world in order to effect unity, solidarity, liberty, and self-determination, and justice and fairness to save the world's cultural patrimony by restoring the ancient tabernacles of old, which are the people, fireball, light from Zion, Sila, Moambesa, Zemanagate, Jehoda, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, Sila, the miracles associated with Kadamawe, Haile Selassie during World War I, World War II, primarily referred to the remarkable comeback of the leader who, after being betrayed and exiled by Italy's invasion, betrayed by the ones who signed the covenant that they would put down war, no more war, and no more armament, led a successful resistance that liberated Ethiopia. His return to Addis Ababa on May 5th, 1941, was seen as a symbolic victory for African resistance and anti-colonialism, a triumph of the Ethiopian people and the British forces, and a pivotal moment that helped shatter the myth of European invincibility. The triumph of the emperor after Italy's 1936 invasion, Kadamawi Haile Selassie went forward into exile to continue the battle and to confront his betrayers at the League of Nations on June 30th, 1936, and continued to rally support for his cause. The miracle is his successful return to Ethiopia on May 5th, 1941. When it seems the world was against him, he stood alone, which he achieved with the help of the British forces and the Takara ambassador, Black Lion Ethiopian, Abnach resistance, its faithful lion mane warriors, fireball, symbol of resistance. His triumphant return helped solidify his image as a symbol of African resistance against colonial powers, inspiring anti-colonial movements across Africa and the world, shattering European invincibility. His success in defeating the Italian forces was a significant blow to the perception of European military invincibility, proving that a European power could be defeated by a coalition of forces included in the African nations' resistance. Restoration of sovereignty. The return of Kadamawi Haile Selassie marked the restoration of Ethiopia's independence, a feat that was celebrated as a triumph of a nation's will to remain sovereign in the face of overwhelming odds. He stood alone against the encroaching world. Fireball, Kadamawi Haile Selassie at Victoria Station, London, en route to the Geneva to appeal to the League of Nations, June 25th, 1936. Picture taken en route to unleash the sword of judgment and purification. The fire, Sila, Sila, Sila. Psalm 12:6. The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times. More, Ambessa, Zemanagate Jehuda, the ring lion, the one on the left of the throne, the Holy Spirit from Zion, Sila, the Star King of Ethiopia, fireball, blessed, baptized, and anointed Negus of Ethiopia, Sila, and the Holy Spirit ascended upon him in the word of the Father as the symbol, Sila, seen upon this picture as the white dove, Sila. Malachi chapter 3. He shall sit as a refiner, a purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Lord an offering in righteousness. Fireball, Mahel, Sepharai, Mahel, Ot, Sepharai, Sifa, the sword, the vow, truth, purification, the king's sword, the sword of the king. We have become his battle axe of war to bring forth a moral code of high principality, love, mercy, and judgment, and forgiveness, and equity. Those who vow unto the king, the Ethiopia Tenawi Mahala, the Ethiopian Tenawi Mahala, the Ethiopian ancient oath, the Mahal Safari, the Mahal Safari, lion mane warriors of the king, rougher and tougher than I, Sila, Taka Ambassador, black lions roar, yeah, they shall roar and take hold of the prey. Rastafari, Mahel Safari, and about to cry, Rastafari, Sila, Mahel Safari, more ambassador, Zeminagate Zehuda, Radatatatata, Sila, Mahel Safari, symbol of the king's lion's men. Aliyah, overstand that. Abajai Jahai, the people's faith, prayer of freedom, the people's faith and prayer of freedom given to the Mahel Safari by His Imperial Majesty to uphold the faith during the Italian invasion. Stila, the English translation of the people's faith, prayer of freedom, translated by Sebla Yaminu, Haile Selassie I, King of Kings of Ethiopia. The people's faith, prayer of freedom. This book is published in the 10th month and 4th administrative year of His Imperial Majesty, Kadamawi Haile Selassie, King of Kings of Ethiopia. Addis Ababa, 1936, Year of Mercy, June 13th, 1936, 1333, 3000, Ethiopia time. 1. We Ethiopians believe Ethiopia is only created for us. Fireball. Overstand that. Stila. 2. We believe the Emperor Kadamawe Haile Selassie is the king by the will of Exibir, and his life is only for our own benefit. We believe that he is our brain leader, and we will follow on the ways that he will direct us. 4. We believe that the safety of our country will be protected only if we obey. 5. We believe that if we serve, we can protect our unity. 6. We believe that there is no full and joyous life without our government. 7. We believe that there is a divine spirit that carries freedom in our blood, which won't betray us to slavery. Overstand that. 8. We believe that if we are not willing to serve Ethiopia selfishly, then we will be confronted by the God of heroes on the day of freedom. Fireball. Overstand that. We will be confronted by the Exibir of heroes on the day of freedom. Fireball. On the day of freedom, our God will be there to confront us. Fireball. 9. We believe that if we are willing to serve our country selfishly, then we will be crowned by history which is the judge of the righteous and the wicked. 10, we believe that we don't want to see, hear, or do wrong in our current returned heaven country. The country with a king born from the people is blessed, respected, and thriving with freedom. Among the greatest treasures that was given for the world is freedom. A country that has freedom is wealthy, respected, and perfect. Societies with no freedom are poor and disrespected, even if they are financially wealthy. There are no contemptuous people than those who are embarrassed to speak of where they are from. People without freedom, even if they are rich, they're still poor. If they make a speech, they can't be heard. If they are developed, they're still backward. If they are educated, they're still illiterate. They are always dehumanized and used as objects by wealthy chauvinists. What differentiates superiority between humans, knowledge, race, yantri, history, is freedom. Those that don't have it are like a body without a soul. Fireball, words of His Imperial Majesty, Abakudus Kedamawe, Haile Selassie, Tiam, Exhibir, Stila, Stila, Stila. 4, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. The Moambasa flag and this prayer book, the people's faith and the prayer of freedom and the symbol of freedom is our holy divine King, baptized and anointed himself in the time of Jacob's great trouble, when the enemy shall come in with the technological advancement of weapons way beyond the weapons that we have at the time, trying to use smart over the righteous heart. Psalms 12:6, the words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace of the earth, purified 7 times. Fireball, Selah, it stand and shall not burn up. Malachi chapter 3, verse 3, and he shall sit as the refiner and the purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Lord an offering in righteousness. Selah, yes, I. They shall make oath unto him. Selah, fireball, overstand that. Why did the Ethiopian Mahel Safari, Teker, and Besta Abanach start growing their hair to Emperor Kadamawe Haile Selassie Diam Exhibir, 1935 to 1941, Italo-Ethiopian War? Why did Ethiopians start growing their hair to Kadamawe Haile Selassie? The practice of growing hair long, which led to the term dreadlocks, originated with Ethiopian guerrilla warriors during the Second Italian-Ethiopian War, 1931-5 to 1941, as a vow not to cut their hair until Emperor Kadamawe Haile Selassie was released from exile and returned to Ethiopia. The origin of the practice, a vow of resistance when Italian forces under Mussolini invaded Ethiopia in 1935 and forced Emperor Kadamawe Haile Selassie into exile to gain the means to restore his country. A movement of Ethiopian patriotic fighters and lion warriors vowed not to cut or groom their hair or beards until His Imperial Majesty, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, was reinstated. The dreaded look as their hair grew matted and locked naturally over time. The unkempt appearance made the warriors look fearsome. Selah, the Europeans, British, especially in Jamaica, where the story spread, referred to these fighters and their matted hair as dreadful or dreaded, which eventually led to the term dreadlocks, fireball, symbol of livication. Two, the hairstyle became a powerful statement of resistance, a symbol of their unwavering commitment, and a promise to fight until their leader was free and the nation restored. Fireball. Here are some historical pictures of the Ethiopian Abanach guerrilla warriors, also known as the Black Lions, who fought against the Italian occupation from 1935 to 1941. Fireball. The Black Lion, resistance, the Mahel, the Farians, the Italian general was determined to destroy their fortress, their stronghold of resistance. As they grew their hair and made these vows, the Italians called their place and their way Neguselam. They must destroy the fortress of Neguselam. Fireball. This new Neguseism must be destroyed, said the Italian general Granzaniani. Ethiopia must be absorbed. Mussolini sent word to use the gas. Mussolini put the bounty on every Abanach, Black Lion, Mahel Safari head for 500 Italian lyre per head. Fireball, if captured. So they began the persecution of cutting off the heads of the captured Moambasa, the Ambessa fighters, and sending them to Mussolini. Sila. Fireball. Overstand this history written in Revelation chapter 20. Word from the Mashafa Bahan, Psalm 110, verse 2. The Lord shall send forth the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Woo thou in the midst of thy enemies. Selah. Selah. The Lord shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Woo thou in the midst of thy enemies. Meaning, in context, the rod of thy strength. This symbolizes a royal scepter or a shepherd's staff, representing divine authority, power, and the everlasting gospel. Selah. It is the instrument through which Exhibi's kingdom is established and maintained over Sanat. Out of Zion, Zion refers to Jerusalem, the city of David, and symbolically represents the spiritual center of Exhibi's kingdom. The prophecy indicates that the Messiah's authority will begin in Jerusalem and extend to the entire world. So this Zion is founded off of the crowning of the Negus birth. It is the Neguselam, Selah, rule in the midst of thy enemies. This describes a present day reality where Christ reigns, even while opposition exists. Overstand not, his kingdom is not a utopian paradise on earth yet, but a rule in the hearts of believers, despite the surrounding presence of those who oppose him. Overstand this, fireball, hot, red, Selah. For many of the people are waiting to be taken away to another place in the heaven that's been forged by the European conceptions of our faith after it was Romanized. They've taken the presence and the rewards of the righteous into an allegorical sense. Understand this. Rule in the midst of thine enemies. This describes a present day reality where Christ reigns even while opposition exists. His kingdom is not a utopian paradise on earth yet, but a rule in the hearts of believers despite the surrounding presence of those who oppose him. The state of Neguselam is the physical state, yet the power and the glory of it is inner. For the kingdom of Neguselam is inside you. It is the inner kingdom that comforts you in faith. For Iestus Christos, our Lord and Savior, told us in that time, in peace I leave you, my peace I give unto you, as the holy Mistress Caduce that dwelleth within him spoke through him. In peace I leave you, my peace I give unto you, but not as the world give it. Understand that. Neither be afraid, nor let thy heart be troubled. Fireball. Understand this. Sila, Sila, Sila. Key themes: divine empowerment. The power to rule is granted by Xavier, the Father, Yahweh, to the Messiah, the Son, Fireball, the great David's greater son, of the bloodline and the root and seed of David, to fulfill the Davidic covenant, the golden invitation of the king. Active dominion. It encouraged believers that spiritual victory is possible today, as Christ's authority is superior to any earthly or spiritual force. He shall topple all the idols. He shall remove the names of all idols from the land. Thus, how shall he do that? He shall be forced into these actions. Through the invasion, they forced the hand of the Lord. Through the invasion, they forced him to give the edict and raise up the standard so all would not be lost. Therefore, the Mihel Safari, the people was given a reassurance of what the people's faith is and what the embodiment of the prayer of freedom is. Understand this. Messianic fulfillment. New Testament writers applied this psalm to Negus, Iestus, the Christ, to prove his deity and his role as the eternal priest, king, after the order of Melchizedek. Fireball. What is Zion in Messianic prophecy? What is Zion in Messianic prophecy? Selah. Right here, I would like to take a pause. Selah. Yes, I. Can the item still hear I?
Yes,
Can the
sir.
item? Yes, I. Selah. Right here.
And everything Ivy.
And manifestation of humanity in the ancient
Right
and
here, I would like to take a pause to revisit His Imperial Highness Prince Eremias Sahila Haile Selassie, because he gave a presentation on the three Zions, the embodiment of the Ethiopian faith and reality and its meaning. So here I would like to take a pause and revisit this. Hence the title of this section of the state of Neguselam, the Tawahido Negus and the three Zions. And the Tawahido Negus, meaning and being that long awaited one who shall come and shall be the embodiment of our faith. Adhu Ab Well Memphis Kudus Besame Ab Well Memphis Kudus, which reinforces our faith. One is the Father, one is the Son, one is the Holy Spirit of truth. Truly the Father is holy, truly the Son is holy, truly the Holy Irit, Memphis Kudus, is holy. Triple Crown King, he wear the triple crown, the embodiment of the intersector between what is above and what is below, the holy Maskal given on behalf of the people, Stila. So here
represents the return of Jesus.
I think I will have to mute my mic so it will not echo. Stila.
AD, all Ethiopians in the ancient and revered tradition of the Ethiopian Orthodox Christians, there had been three traditional symbols of demonstration and manifestation of humanity's intimate relationship and connection with the divine, and that these are called the three Zions. The first Zion is the Temple of Solomon in Israel, which according to the Bible is the first temple in Jerusalem, Jews, and is thought to have been constructed around 832 BC. During its history, it was repeatedly attacked and sacked, and according to Jewish religious traditions, before its final destruction by Rome in 70 AD, the temple had in Solomon's time been repository for the fabled Ark of the Covenant. Subsequently, Jewish scriptures say that the Ark will remain hidden until God gathers his people together again. The Jewish faith today believes that the Temple of Solomon will and must be rebuilt before the coming of the Antichrist. Indeed, contemporary Orthodox Jews pray 3 times a day for the restoration of Solomon's temple. Adherents of the Orthodox faith in Ethiopia believe that according to prophecy, when the temple is rebuilt again, one door is reserved for the Lion of Judah, for Christ to open it up again. The second Zion, which I have already discussed in some detail, is Mary, the mother of Christ, and the church at St. Mary of Zion in Aksum. The third Zion is the Lion of Judah, who represents the return of Jesus Christ in the fulfillment and biblical prophecy of his coming to rule again. Since the 4th century AD, all Ethiopian sovereigns have given their crown to the church at St. Mary of Zion in traditional adherence and submission to this belief. In fact, the Ethiopian imperial crest is an empty throne, waiting in expectation for the return of Christ and the rule of the right and justice.
Selah, 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 Selah. Yes, could the item hear everything forward good?
Yes, sir.
Breaking
Everything
everything,
loud
Irie.
and clear, yeah.
Yes, I.
Yes,
Rastafari.
Yes, Selah.
Bless,
So
bless.
he said that the crest of the Ethiopian house portrays a throne that's empty. waiting for Christ to come and reign on the throne to usher in an era, a day of righteousness and justice and equality for all. So this is the fulfillment of our faith. European Christianity, they tell us that this Christ is coming from the sky. Because in the book of Revelation, when in book of Revelation 19, when the one there bows down to the revelator, he said him not to do it, because I am of thy fellow brethren who have the testimony of Jesus Christos. For the testimony of Jesus Christos is the spirit of prophecy. And he looked and he saw the heavens open, and he saw a white horse whose rider was called Truth and Faithful, right? So when he saw the vision unfold in the sky, which was a future vision of the future. Doesn't mean it was happening in the sky. The sky became the television or the screen for him to view it through. That didn't mean it was going to happen in the sky, and this one was coming from the sky riding the horse. He seen the future. I had this unfolded before him in the vision in the sky. Selah. So the spirit of truth and faithful, whose name shall be called the word of Exhibia. Selah. So that brings us to the question, what is Zion in messianic prophecy? So here I will pause and I will open the floor to get word from the brethren and sistren that may be here. Now, in your heavens, when you hear Zion, what does it mean to you? What is your vision of Zion when you hear Zion? Give thanks. The floor is open.
Yes, sir. Neguselam. The Zion for me is peace. Zion for me is Christ consciousness amongst man. Zion for me is us recognizing the principle of Christ as to the spirit of it in its proper manner, taken away from one's overindulging into others, and then looking at the example of the king that told us a generation shall replace him. Now in Revelation, when they spoke about the chariots of fire, to me, His Majesty still did that when he came with the Ethiopian Airlines, with the lion and the white plane with the red, gold, and green. And also he was on the white horse. And that was put out into the TV waves, which manifests into your living room. And soon technology will have it where it'll manifest in your Google glasses, and it'll manifest even within your mind. So we are on the way to crossing every T and dotting every I that Babylon put as confusion. So the age of confusion will be over and it'll be clarity, and that is Zion, a heavenly state of mind. Yes, sir.
Yes, I give thanks, King. Good response. Good word sound. Yes, I. Any other brethren come forward, brethren or sister in the word sound. What is Zion to you? What do you see Zion? What do you have heard through Zion, through the time, through scripture? What has our Father revealed Zion as to the eye? Selah. The floor is open.
Rastafari. Give praise and thanks to the Most High in the name of Elijah. Rastafari.
Selah.
Well, brethren, Zion have always been, like, even with I would say with myself, it would come from peace be with the soul of brother uh, niggas Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? From him songs, getting more researching in with Zion, him hills. Psalm 187. You know what I mean? Would definitely uh, be the scripture to address Zion, you know, in the words of the I and I. But again, that's our ultimate. That's like the ultimate of life, you know, being in Zion, the spirit of Zion. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel with it. You know, I say the spirit of completeness. You know, that's what I look at it as.
Yes, I. Sila. Give
Right.
thanks for that word sound.
Yes, sir.
Sila. Yes, I.
Alhamdulillah.
Sila. Yes, I. Any other brethren? Give thanks. Give first for word sound. What does Zion mean to the eye? What does Zion mean to the eye? What has Zion meant to the eye in all of these times? And the strength. Sila.
Yes, sir. Neguselam. Lekiwu, Malcolm Negatu, Abakadus, Maui, Haile Selassie, CM Exhibit, Sila. Yes, sir. So welcome to the I Mind, is if the I would read out out of Matthew 25, chapter 20. And so he that received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 more talents. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things, I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. And, so Zion to I, is like entering, is basically a state of entering into the rest of the Most High, and coming into the Neguselam, coming to know the Neguselam, also, reading on in Matthew 25, where it says, 34, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye, blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Yes, I bless the Lord.
Sila. Yes, I. Give thanks for that word sound, King. Abakadus Kadamawi Adis Lashisiam Exhibit. Yes, I. And I give thanks for the word sounds. Yes, I would like to, before we move, is there anyone else like to give a word sound on Zion? Then I will go forward to the next revelation on this Zion. What is Zion in messianic prophecy? Yes, I. The floor is open. Aye.
If you're getting spam texts like these or spam phone calls like these, then it's highly likely that your data has been breached. There's a
Project 60.
Sila, and I want to revisit this. What is Zion? So, and I have this video of the coordination that the British put forward that we hadn't had before. So, Sila, what is Zion in the Masonic prophecy?
Presents The Conquering Lion of Judah, a profile study of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia. He became emperor on November 2nd, 1930, and was crowned Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, King of Zion, conquering lion of the seed of Judah, power of the Trinity.
Your Imperial Majesty, you were 39 years old when you were crowned in 1930.
He became emperor on November 2nd, 1930, and was crowned Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, King of Zion, conquering lion of the seed of Judah, power of the Trinity.
Your Imperial Majesty.
Yes, sir. So I wanted to hit on that audio that he was crowned King of Kings, Lords of Lords, conqueror of the tribe of Judah, the seed of David, King of Zion. So he was crowned King of Zion. Selah. What is Zion? He was crowned King of Zion. That has a special connotation to the faithful, to the believers. He was crowned King of Zion. He wasn't crowned King of Detroit. He wasn't crowned King of Los Angeles. He wasn't crowned, King of Salt Lake City. He wasn't crowned King of Harar, in Zimbabwe, Hawaii. He was crowned King of Zion. Where is Zion? What does Zion mean? He was crowned King of Zion. Prophecy. In Messianic prophecy, Zion symbolizes the divine dwelling place of Exibia, representing a future restored and glorified Jerusalem as the center of his eternal kingdom, where the Messiah reigns brings salvation, justice, and universal peace to better Israel and the nations. Selah, involving from the physical city to a spiritual reality of God's people in the heavenly city. Aha, overstand not by a ball. Selah, overstand not. Wait a minute. I read it again. In Messianic prophecy, Zion symbolizes the divine dwelling place of Ixibia, representing a future restored and glorified Jerusalem as the center of his eternal kingdom, where the Messiah reigns, bringing salvation, justice, and universal peace to better Israel and the nations. Neguselam, evolving from the physical city to a spiritual reality, Neguselam, of Ixibir's people and heavenly city, Fireball. It signifies Ixibir's covenant people, better Israel, and the ultimate hope of redemption, becoming a spiritual concept of the New Testament for the heavenly Neguselam and the church. Overstand this. Fireball. Word from the Mashafa Bahan, the book of light. Key meanings of Zion and prophecy. The physical city, originally the city of David, then the site of the temple in Jerusalem, symbolizing Ixibir's chosen dwelling place and his presence. The people of Better Israel, Zion also refers to the nation of Better Israel as Ixibir's covenant people, the recipients of his promises. Fireball, the recipients of his promises. Remember, one of those promises was of the promised land. One of those promises was of the promised land. So we have physical of the promised land. We will have to. Thus, we receive Shashamani land through the 1931 lawful constitution of Ethiopia, Chapter 2, Powers and Prerogatives of the Emperor, Article 29, Article 30, and Article 31D is how we receive the land grant as compensation for faithful service to the throne. Fireball, overstand that. So I receive a blessed land grant for the symbolic of the heavenly gesture of redemption of the restoration of the people. Selah. So these are promises that have to be fulfilled. Selah. Zion also refers to the nation of Better Israel as Ixibir's covenant people, the recipients of his promises. Future redemption and kingdom. Prophets foretold Zion's restoration after exile, becoming the place where Ixibir's law goes forth and his kingdom is established with the Messiah as king. So the king, the Negus, he's the center of Zion. He's the peace of this Zion. So it is established off of his symbolism. He is the royal Negus. So the peace that comes from him has to be Neguselam. And the city has to be called Neguselam. Selah. Addis Ababa, the new flower of peace, and he is the rose. He is the bloom of the new flower city. Addis Ababa, the king, the Negus, is the bloom of Addis Ababa. The new city of the new flower. He is the rose of Sharon. Selah.
Rastafari. King man. You got your phone plugged in so it won't go dead?
Yes, I.
Okay.
Yes, I. Give thanks, I. I. Selah. Yes, I. That's the eye with the raised hand?
Yes, I just wanted to know because I saw the 20% come across the screen and I didn't know whether you had, plugged it in so it wouldn't go dead.
Give thanks, King. Yes, I.
Neguselam.
Neguselam. Selah.
Alhamdulillah.
Selah. I. Yes, I. The future redemption and kingdom. The prophets foretold Zion's restoration after exile, becoming the place where Exhibir's law goes forth and his kingdom is established with the Messiah, as king. Meanings of Zion in prophecy. Fireball, overstand this. Spiritual fulfillment. In the New Testament, it shifts to a spiritual reality. The heavenly Neguselam, the city of the living God, Fireball, and the spiritual Mount Zion, where believers now come with Christ as the cornerstone. Overstand that. The spiritual fulfillment, the New Testament, in the New Testament, it shifts to a spiritual reality. The heavenly Neguselam, the city of the living, Exhibir, Amlak, and the spiritual Mount Zion, where believers now come with Christ as the cornerstone. Messianic fulfillment. Negus Ayasus as the king of Zion. Prophecies like Zechariah fulfilled in Matthew chapter 21, verse 4 through 5, announced the coming king of Zion, identifying Ayasus, Isa, Negusa as the promised Messiah. So, in the British commentary, when they said the king was crowned King of Kings, Lords of Lords, conquering lion of the seed of David, King of Zion, that is a prophetical, messianic title. Announced the coming king to Zion, identifying the promised Messiah. Cornerstone in Zion. Peter, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 6, quotes Isaiah 28:16, calling Christ the chosen and precious cornerstone laid in Zion, fulfilling prophecy. New covenant. Negus mediates a new covenant, connecting the earthly Zion with the heavenly reality. So this is the new covenant. So the king offers a new covenant, which is Isaiah 55, the golden invitation of the king. This Holy Spirit, the king, Memphis Kudus, has an invitation, just as Jesus the Christ had an invitation to those who were thirsty after righteousness in the first advent. He said, "Come unto me, all who are heavy laden and burdened, and I will give you rest." So does the king, the messianic king, in Isaiah 55. Ho, come eat and come drink without money, without price. Yes, come drink wine and milk without money, without price. in this time of year, the Pharisees symbol they made sit in the malls around the world, talking about ho, 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 the Santa Claus. Mocking the revelation and prophecies of our people who don't know what the word ho means. Ho, ho, ho. They don't know what the word means. It means, look, children of Israel, to the throne. Everything you need is in the throne. You don't have to look no farther to anywhere else but the throne. Everything you need is in the throne. There's only one throne, one crown. This is a new covenant, which is a free will offering of mercy and of grace. So when we saw through the Bible, he shall sit in Malachi 3:3, he shall sit as a refiner, a purifier of silver and gold. He shall purify the sons of Levi, that they may offer an offering in righteousness unto him. Right? He shall sit as a purifier. So he renewed the covenant. So we saw in real time the Takara ambassador, Mahil Safari, take part in this new free will offering, this new covenant. And they made a vow unto the king. They made a vow unto him of righteousness and truth. So in these modern times, the offering in Neguselam would be just as precious and just as precious as the days of old. So we have to understand what's taking place here. But he sit as a refiner, a purifier of silver. He shall purge the sons of Levi and the sons of Judah, that they may offer an offering of righteousness unto him, and truth and faithfulness. So this is what we witness when they made vows to grow their hair unto the king. In essence, Zion in prophecy moves from a geographical hill to the embodiment of Ixabir's redemptive plan, culminating in Christ's eternal reign from the heavenly Zion, a place of ultimate spiritual blessing and security for believers. He's the great comforter. Remember, in John, I asked us to Christ to I shall pray the Father that he will send you the Holy Comforter, even the Spirit of truth, who the world do not know or nor can receive, for they have never seen him and they do not know him. Overstand this, fireball. But you shall know him and you shall see him, for he liveth in you. He shall live in you, right? In these times, he shall write his law and his faith in our inner parts. For to fulfill the kingdom of heaven starts from within. Selah. Selah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, I. Selah. The kingdom of heaven is from within. As a man thinketh, so is he. So this is the fulfillment. What is Zion? The state of Neguselam. It's a conscious state, right? Of peace, an inward peace, by embracing the reality of our promised Redeemer, the Lord our righteousness, and the Lord our vengeance. For vengeance is mine, said the Lord. Selah. So we see in the coronation, the king is being crowned, right? He's been invested with a robe, with an investiture. He's been invested with a breastplate, all having symbolic meaning, right? To perform the mission that he comes to perform. But yet, we read in the establishment of Zion, we read in the establishment of Zion, right? In the establishment of Zion, rule in the midst of thy enemies, he is surrounded in the presence of those who oppose him. So even in the Neguselam, you have the forces of evil who are working against the righteousness. So he comes to break the rod of the oppressor and bring forth the liberty, right? Sila. So let I and I go forward here. Let I and I go forward here for the new day. Sila. To free I and I. And Isaiah 42, chapter 42, verse 3. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yeah, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. Selah. He shall go forth as a mighty man of war. Fireball. The phrase, the Lord shall go forth as a mighty man of war, comes from Isaiah 42, chapter 13. In the King James Version of the Bible, describing Ixabir's powerful intervention and victory over his enemies, using imagery of a warrior rousing his zeal, shouting and prevailing as he prepares to act decisively for his people after a period of quiet. Fireball. He went to the League of Nations June 30th, 1936. He said, it is not a mere question of Ethiopian sovereignty or Italian sovereignty at hand here. It is international morality which is at stake. For we, meaning we have signed a treaty outlawing war that no nation will have a war cabinet anymore. No nation will have a war cabinet anymore. All nations will remove the war cabinet from their government. So it is not a mere question of the sovereignty of Ethiopia or Italy that is at hand here. International morality is at stake, where we go backwards into the barbaric system of war. Though you've struck a match in Ethiopia, it is Europe that shall burn. It is us today. It shall be you tomorrow. This is the cry and the roar that came out of the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the light of the world, on June 30th, 1936, in Geneva, Switzerland. So, it is describing Ixtabir's powerful intervention and victory over his enemies using imaginary imagery of a warrior rousing his zeal, shouting. He using his voice and prevailing as he prepares to act decisively for his people after a period of quiet. Context of Isaiah 42, verse 13 through 15. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. Ixabir will rise with fierce passion and power, like a warrior ready for battle. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. He will shout his war cry and overcome those who oppose him. Fireball. I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Exhibier explains this action follows a period of silence and restraint. Now I will cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. He will then act with overwhelming force like a woman in childbirth, bringing swift destruction and judgment. Meaning, this verse portrays Exhibiah, Amlak, as a divine warrior who defends his people, brings justice, and decisively defeats opposition using powerful military imagery to convey his strength and determination. Understand that. This phrase is found in Isaiah 42, verse 13 of the King James Version of the Bible. Full text version. First, the Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. So when the king came to America, they all had to bow. He was the living legend. He's the hero of World War II. He's the catalyst of the war. Because if they had helped him in the beginning, it would not have been a war. So now he come forth as a mighty man of war, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. And they are jealous of the king, but they can't harm him, for no weapon formed against him shall prosper. Fireball, overstand that. Stila. So His Majesty came to America on May 25th, 1954. Fireball. Remember, he had already signed the Declaration of International Morality and Human Rights on December 10th, 1948. Now he's coming forward to see. Now he's coming forward to make treaties with these nations that could go through and be established throughout the earth. Fireball. Context and meaning. Divine warrior. This verse uses anthropomorphic, human-like imagery to depict Exhibitor preparing for battle to deliver his people and execute judgment. The new song, it serves as the reason for the call in verses 10 through 12 to sing a new song to the Lord as he is about to move decisively against those who trust in idols. Fireball. Victory over enemies. The roar and cry represents a victorious battle cry. Rastafari, signaling that Exhibir's triumph over his adversaries is certain. Historical reference. In a historical context, commentators often view this as Exhibir's manifestation of power to destroy the Babylonian Empire and free the exiled Israelites. Woo, fireball, hot. Fireball, I shall send forth thy rod of strength out of Zion, rule thou in the midst of thy enemies. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power. Woo, historical reference. In historical context, commentators often view this as Exhibir's manifestation of power to destroy the Babylonian Empire of inequality, unrighteous, unjust scales, unjust judgment, and oppression. Free the exile, better Israelite. Fireball. Related passages, similar warrior descriptions of Ixabir in the King James include Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Kadamawe Haile Selassie. The might and power of divine peace of the Holy Triune. Psalm 24:8. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty. The Lord mighty in battle. Abakadus Kadamawe Haile Selassie. Shiam Exhibir. Isaiah 59:17. For he put on righteousness as a breastplate and an helmet of salvation upon his head. And he put on the garments of vengeance for clothing and was clad with zeal as a cloak. Fireball, the holy coronation, he's been sealed with ancient prescription oils on the head, his brow, shoulders, and breast. Fireball, chest. He put on the garments of vengeance for clothing in Isaiah 59:17. The phrase, and he put on the garments of vengeance for clothing, depicts Ixabir as a divine warrior preparing for battle. This anthropomorphic imagery describes Ixabir's direct intervention in human affairs when no other intercessor could be found to establish justice. Overstand not, he toppled all idol thrones. Him alone, overstand this, fireball. The phrase, he put on garments of vengeance for clothing, depicts Ixabir as a divine warrior preparing for battle. This anthropomorphic imagery describes Ixabir's direct intervention in human affairs when no other intercessor could be found to establish justice. So there's no justice without the king. Negus, no way. No way. Fireball. Divine. Key meanings of these garments of vengeance include divine prerogative, unlike the breastplate of righteousness or helmet of salvation, which believers are later invited to wear. Fireball, overstand this. The Neguselam. Unlike the breastplate of righteousness or helmet of salvation, which believers are later invited to wear. Ephesians 6. The garments of vengeance belong to Ixabir alone. Fireball. He doesn't invite his children to put on the garment of vengeance. He only invites his children to put on the breastplate of righteousness and the helmet of salvation and the sword of truth in their hand and the shield of faith upon their arm. He do not invite them to put on the clothing of vengeance, for he alone wears the clothes of vengeance. For vengeance is mine, said the Lord. Blessed are those who wait upon him, for this is the righteousness of his saints. Selah, fireball, overstand this. Selah. Yes, I. Neguselam. Selah. The garments of vengeance belong to Ixabir alone. Vengeance is viewed as his exclusive right to restore moral order and vindicate the oppressed. He has not given that right to another. Judicial purpose. The garments signify that Ixabir is actively moving from a state of patience to a state of judgment against persistent rebellion and evil. This vengeance is not personal spite, but a righteous response to satisfy divine justice. Public manifestation, just as a warrior's clothing identifies his intent, these garments signal to the world that Exhibir is about to perform a strange act of punishment against his enemy. So when the representatives from the nations came to Addis Ababa and they got together in St. George's Cathedral and cite the king's coronation, and when they clothed him with the garments dipped in blood, which is the blood represent the blood of his enemies, fear took hold upon them. They identified it to what was to come. He shall break the rod of the oppressor and the yoke, and shall let his children go free. It signifies and identifies his intent. These garments signal to the world that Exhibir is about to perform a strange act of punishment against his enemies, which was World War II. More men transitioned in World War II than any known war to date. Symbolic attire. Some commentaries suggest the garments refer to a short tunic or tabard worn over armor, while the cloak of zeal mentioned later in the verse is an outer mantle. Together, they represent Exhibir's total commitment and passionate determination to finish his work of salvation and judgment. Prophetic foreshadowing. Many theologians view this verse as a foreshadowing of the second coming of Christ, who is described in Revelation 19 as a warrior wearing a vesture dipped in blood while executing judgment. Fireball. The golden invitation of the Negus of righteousness and justice. Isaiah 55, verse 1 through 9. Selah. He put on righteousness as a breastplate and a helmet of salvation. And Isaiah 59:17. The description of Exhibir putting on righteousness as a breastplate and a helmet of salvation depicts the Lord as a divine warrior who personally intervenes when no human intercessor can be found to establish justice. Overstand that. Fireball. He tried the wine press alone, and of the people there was none with him. Fireball. Overstand this. Significance of the armor. Righteousness as a breastplate. Just as a breastplate protects a warrior's heart and vital organs, this symbolizes Exhibir's flawless moral purity and judicial integrity. It signifies that his forthcoming judgments are perfectly fair and that his character is unassailable. Fireball. As our Constitution states, the person of the emperor is sacred. Fireball. And our Ethiopian Constitution, 1931, 1955, 1974 draft, redraft, the person of the emperor is sacred. Fireball. Overstand this. It signifies that his forthcoming judgments are perfectly fair and that his character is unassailable. Helmet of salvation. This represents Exhibir as the architect and guarantor of deliverance. By wearing it on his head, he shows that his saving purpose is fixed, unassailable, and conspicuous for all to see. He has uncovered the head, the face unto the neck, for they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. It also signifies that victory is already secured through his divine power. Hallelujah. Selah. Overstand this. the context of divine intervention. Isaiah 59 describes a society where truth has fallen in the streets. Fireball, overstanding Babylon, the system, when the king comes forward after his victory. Even during his coronation, the world outside of Ethiopia, what he comes into, is a world where truth has fallen in the streets. So he takes the fire out of the tabut, which is the spirit of Memphis Caduce that embodies him, and spreads it throughout the streets as spoken in Ezekiel chapter 10. Take this fire, go in and take the fire from between the cherubims, the man dressed in linen, and spread it throughout the city, throughout the street. Fireball. Isaiah 59 describes a society where truth has fallen in the streets and justice is nowhere to be found. Verse 14 through 15. Ixziabir wondered that there was no intercessor. So he stepped onto the battlefield himself. Fireball. Overstand this. Hot, red. Ixziabir wondered that there was no intercessor. So he stepped onto the battlefield himself, using his own arm to bring salvation and his own righteousness to uphold him. Relationship to the armor of Ixziabir, Ephesians chapter 6, the Apostle Paul directly borrowed from imagery in the New Testament to describe the armor of Ixziabir for believers. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 13 through 17. Borrowed armor. In Isaiah, Ixziabir is the one wearing the armor because humanity is devoid of these qualities. Fireball. He sit as a refiner, a purifier of silver to purge ironite to purification. Given to believers in Ephesians, this divine armor is handed to the church. Believers are called to put on the same attributes. Ixziabir's own righteousness and salvation to stand against spiritual forces. Put on his breastplate and put on his helmet of salvation to guard your inner door, which is the mind. For he stand at the door and knock. If any man shall hear his voice and open the door, he and his father shall come in within the eye and sup with the eye and keep the eye. Fireball, hot. Invincibility, because these pieces are forged from Ixziabir's own attributes. They provide invincible protection for those who wear them. The state of Neguselam, the rainbow circle, force field by faith. Overstand this, fireball. But he did not give Ionai the garment of vengeance, for the garment of vengeance belongs to him alone. Fireball. He's the Lord, our righteousness, and the Lord, our vengeance. For it invokes the state of Neguselam to be able to do his work in peace and bring forth the ones in this time. For the spirit of Abacadus Kenamawe, Hadis Elastic Stium Ixziabir, is upon I to preach good tidings to the meek, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of his vengeance. Fireball, to loose the prisoners from the pit of darkness. Fireball, therefore overstand our strength and power that has been given to us in righteousness and faith. Fireball, for the city of Neguselam is within us. Fireball, hot. Invincibility, because these pieces are forged from Ixziabir's own attributes. They provide invincible protection for those who wear them. Selah. What does Isaiah 59:17 mean? What is the meaning of Isaiah 59:17? He put on righteousness like a breastplate. In Isaiah 59:16, the Lord was amazed that there was no one to intercede. So he personally steps onto the battlefield. His first piece of armor is righteousness, fitting for the judge of all the earth. Genesis chapter 18, verse 25. The breastplate protects the heart. Exhibits moral purity is flawless. Protection against every accusation. Psalm 89:14. When Paul later urges believers to stand firm with the breastplate of righteousness in place. Ephesians 6:14. He echoes this theme, showing that our righteousness is borrowed from exhibits perfect character. Overstand this. Romans chapter 3, verse 21 through 22. Because the Lord wears righteousness, his judgments are always fair. Revelation 19, verse 11. And the helmet of salvation on his head. Salvation originates with Exhibir, not us. By placing it on his head, the Lord shows he is both the architect and the guarantor of deliverance. Isaiah 12, verse 2. The helmet guards the mind. Overstand not. Exhibit's saving intent is fixed and unassailable. Psalm 140, verse 7. Believers are later told to take the helmet of salvation, Ephesians 6:17, and to put on as a helmet the hope of salvation, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 8. The same divine protection the warrior wears is handed to his people. The law, he invites us to come sit in the throne with him. As my Father has invited me to come sit in his throne, I invite you to sit in the throne with I. I see you not as subject, but as fellow brethren. Selah. This helmet signals victory already secured. Salvation is not tentative, but finished. John chapter 19, verse 30. The crown of victory with the crown and the mascal upon top. Let us leave the cross of crucifixion and move on to the crown of perfection in patience, faith, and truth, and love, and mercy. The law. He put on garments of vengeance. Vengeance belongs to the Lord alone. Deuteronomy chapter 32, 35, Romans 12:19. Here, he dresses for the task. These garments announce that judgment is about to fall on persistent rebellion. Isaiah 59:18. The picture foreshadows Christ's return. He is clothed in a robe dipped in blood. He treads the winepress of the fullness of the wrath of Exhibir. Revelation 19, verse 13 to 15. Divine vengeance is never petty. It vindicates the oppressed and restores moral order. 2 Thessalonians 1, verse 6 through 8. And wrapped himself in the cloak of zeal. Overstand that. The zeal that came before him, which was faith. Zeal is passionate commitment. Exhibir is not indifferent. His love fuels his actions. Isaiah 9, verse 7. For unto us a son is given, unto us a child is born, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And this is the government, the name by which he shall be called, Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty Theam Exhibir, the Everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. Like a cloak, zeal covers everything he does, ensuring that judgment and salvation alike flow from his fervent desire of righteousness. Isaiah 42:13. Forgiveness. Jesus, Negus, Augustus the Christ embodies this zeal. Zeal for your house will consume me. John chapter 2, verse 17, citing Psalm 69, verse 9. The cloak reminds us that Ixtabir's fever never cools. He will accomplish what he has begun. Can't cool, can't quench. Fireball, hot. He wraps himself in the faith of Christ. He brings forth the true light of Christ. For Christ said, I shall pray the Father that he will send you another comforter, and he shall take that which I have that and show unto you in plain English an example. And I say, he would take what I have, because what belonged to me belonged to the Father, my Father, but yet me and my Father are one. So he shall wrap himself in the face of Christ, which is the light of mercy and truth and judgment and faithfulness and righteousness. Selah. Summary: Isaiah 59:17 paints the Lord as the divine warrior who steps in with no human can fix the mess of sin. Righteousness protects his heart. Salvation crowns his purpose. Vengeance clothes his justice. And zeal drives every move. These same qualities later offered as armor to believers assure us that Ixtabir's character is both our shelter and our call to stand firm. Fireball, hot, red hot, Selah, Selah. Mon Bessa Zimonagadi Zahuda, the light rays of the Fire King of Ethiopia. Selah, Selah. Him, victorious in battle. Fireball. Ethiopia's Star King, Eliai. Selah. Upon the battlefield. As far as the emperor himself was concerned, his conduct during the offensive of Machao was irreproachable. He was always in the zone of artillery fire and continuously exposed himself to danger. In the end, he went down into the plain and machine gunned the enemy himself with terrific effect. George Steer, Caesar in Abyssinia, book 1936, upon the white horse, leading the troops at the battle of Machao. Fireball. Isaiah 59:17, for he put on righteousness as a breastplate and a helmet of salvation upon his head. And he put on the garments of vengeance for clothing and was clad with zeal as the cloak. And commentary for the Bible commentaries, he put on righteousness. The close parallelism with Isaiah 11 points as far as it goes to identify of authorship, and that of Ephesians 6:14-17 suggests a new significance for St. Paul's whole armor of Ixtabir, the garments of vengeance, as part of a warrior's dress. The garments are the short tunic or tabard which hung over the breastplate, the cloak of righteousness, making it to fit the symbol and the zeal of the Most High. For he put on righteousness as the breastplate. Ixtabir, resolving to appear as a man of war, puts on his armor he calls righteousness, his breastplate, to show the justness of his cause, as also his faithfulness in making good his promises, and a helmet of salvation upon his head, as the breastplate is to defend the heart, whereby Ixtabir signifies the justness of his cause and his faithfulness. So the helmet is to defend the head, the fountain of knowledge, the wisdom. And therefore, by this piece of armor, Ixtabir would have us to know that he can neither be deceived nor disappointed with regard to the execution of his designs for the salvation of his faithful and obedient people, but will without fail carry them into effect. And he put on the garments of vengeance, or garments made of vengeance, as Ixzibir is said to put on the former of their stakes, for whom he would preserve. So he puts on these for their stakes, whom he will destroy, namely the people's enemies, was clad with zeal for his own honor and for his people's welfare. The sum of all these expressions is to describe both the cause and effect together. The cause was righteousness and zeal in Ixzibir. The effect, salvation to his people and vengeance on his enemies according to their deeds. Hebrew recompenses and or deserts, that is, he will recompense his adversaries with those effects of his fury that they have deserved. To the islands he will repay recompense. He will execute judgment on his enemies to the most remote parts of the earth. The passage is connected with the following chapter. It is generally thought to describe the coming of the Messiah as the avenger and deliverer of his church. Fireball. He freed the country and he freed the Tawahedo church from the Roman hegemony through the Coptic. Fireball. For at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, they put forth a church canon law that no Ethiopian could become patriarch of the Ethiopian church. His Majesty removed that by making the first Ethiopian patriarch Basilios. Stila. There is none to intercede with Ixzibir to turn away his wrath, none to interpose for the support of justice and truth. Yet he engaged his own strength and righteousness for his people. Ixzibir will make his justice upon the enemies of his church and people plainly appear. When the enemies threatens to bear down all without control, then the Spirit of the Lord shall stop him, put him to flight. He that has delivered will still deliver. Do not reward evil for evil, but the golden proclamation of our Negus. We shall take the enemy's arms and make him return by the way that he came. When the enemy threatens to bear down all without control, then the Spirit of the Lord shall stop him, put him to flight. He that has delivered will still deliver. As far more glorious salvation is promised to be wrought by the Messiah in the fullness of time. Fireball, a far more glorious salvation is promised to be wrought by the Messiah in the fullness of time. Selah, the golden invitation, Isaiah 55, verse 1 through 9, which all the prophets had in view. Selah, overstand this. The Sipka, all the prophets had this in view. The Sipka, Selah. The son of Ixzibir shall come to us to be our Redeemer. The spirit of Ixzibir shall come to be our sanctifier. Thus the Comforter shall abide with the church forever. Fireball, John 14, verse 16. Remember, the word of Christ will always continue in the mouths of the faithful, and whatever is pretended to be the mind of the Spirit must be tried by the scriptures. We must lament the progress of infidelity and impiety, but the cause of the Redeemer shall gain a complete victory even on earth, and the believer will be more than conqueror when the Lord receives him to his glory in the heaven, which is the state of Neguselam, to protection after one do the will of the Most High. For I will sing of mercy and judgment to thee, O Lord, will I sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. O when wilt thou come into I? Selah. For he put on righteousness, that is, Ixabir the Redeemer. The prophet here introduces him as going forth to vindicate his people, clad as an ancient warrior. In the declaration that he put on righteousness, the essential idea is that he was pure and holy. The person of the emperor is sacred. The same image is used by the prophet in another figure in Isaiah 11, verse 5. Selah. As a breastplate, the breastplate was a well-known piece of ancient armor designed to defend the breast from the darts and the swords of an enemy. The design here to represent the Redeemer as a hero, and accordingly, allusion is made to the various parts of the armor of a warrior, that he was not to be literally armed for battle. Instead of being an earthly conqueror clad in steel and defended with brass, his weapons were moral weapons. Moral weapons. Because we come not to fight against pure flesh and blood, but spiritual wicked and principalities in high and low places. His weapons were moral weapons, and his conquests were spiritual. The various parts of his weapons were righteousness, salvation, and zeal. This statement should have been in itself sufficient to keep the believers front anticipating a Messiah. He would be a bloody warrior and distinguished for deeds of conquest and blood. The figure of speech is not uncommon in Paul, Ephesians chapter 6, 14 through 17, compared to 2 Corinthians 6 through 7, 6, 7, has carried it out to greater length and introduced more particulars in the description of the spiritual armor of the believer. As in helmet of salvation, the helmet was a piece of defensive armor for the head. It was made of iron or brass and usually surmounted by a crest of hair. It was designed to guard the head from the stroke of a sword. No particular stress should be laid on the fact that it is said that salvation will be the helmet. The design is to represent the Redeemer by the figure of a hero clad in armor. Yet there seems to be no particular reason why salvation should be referred to as the helmet or righteousness as the cuirass or breastplate. Nothing is gained by a fanciful attempt to spiritualize or explain them. Hence, the Mahel Safari, the Kur ambassador, made the vow to grow their hair unto the king, which is the Mahel, the Ethiopia Tenari Mahala, the Ethiopian ancient oath, which is the ancient oath of the Bahatari. The Most High, Abukudus Kedamawe, Haile Selassie Stiam Exhibir, is on thy head like a crown, and thine eyes shall not be without him. For he's woven for I and I a crown of truth, and caused its branches to bud in I and I. For lo, it's not like a withered crown which budded not, but thou livest upon I and thy head, and thou hast blossomed upon I and thy head. Thy fruits are full grown and eifig, full of thy salvation, O ancient king of the nations. Selah, Selah. He put on the garments of vengeance for clothing. By garments here, Vitaringa supposes that there is reference to the interior garments which were worn by the Orientals corresponding to the tunic of the Romans. But it is more probable that the allusion is to the outer parts of the dress or armor in general of the ancient warrior. The statement that he was clad in garments of vengeance means that he will go forth to vindicate his people and to take vengeance on his foes. It would not be for mere defense that he would be thus armed for battle, but he will go forth for aggressive movement and subduing his enemies and delivering his people. Fireball. Compare Isaiah 63. Selah, Selah, Selah. Our divine warrior, the conqueror, who is the king, fireball, Selah, hot. I and I will go forward to show forth. Selah, 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 Selah. Fireball. Selah. So when the king come forward as the mighty man of war and stirred up jealousy as a man of war, when he is the prince of peace, fireball, they was jealous of the king, but the king accomplished his mission through treaty. I pray the item. Can the item still hear I? Can the item still see the screen? I.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Neguselam.
Yes,
Selah.
sir. Mm-hmm.
Emperor Katamari Haile Selassie in 1954 U.S. visit, including his time in Washington, D.C., marked a significant moment where U.S. officials navigating Cold War politics and burgeoning civil rights showcased integrated military government forces, including black and white service members, during ceremonies at the Capitol, White House, to project American unity and power, even as African Americans interpreted the visit for their own empowerment against segregation, highlighting a complex interplay of diplomacy, racial progress, and Cold War messaging. So when the king came, they put an integrated army in front of him, which was the future to come. Yet they hadn't integrated yet. 1954, the police force was not integrated. 1954, the firefighters was not integrated. 1954, nurses was not integrated. 1954, the armed forces was not integrated. But yet all of these public servants, when the king came, they put an integrated force before him of black and white. Fireball, overstand this. Selah, Selah. I'll read it again. Emperor Katamari Haile Selassie 1954 U.S. visit, including his time in Washington, D.C., marked a significant moment, whereas U.S. officials navigating Cold War politics and burgeoning civil rights showcased integrated military government forces, including black and white service members, during ceremonies at the Capitol and White House to project American unity and power, even as African Americans interpreted the visit for their own empowerment against segregation, highlighting a complex interplay of diplomacy, racial progress, and Cold War messaging. Context of the visit: diplomatic and Cold War goals. Emperor Selassie's unofficial visit aimed to strengthen ties with the U.S. with America keen to present a unified, non-racist front globally during the Cold War, especially after the Brown versus Board of Education decision. African American interests. African Americans saw Selassie as a powerful black leader, connecting his visit to liberation movements and alternative sources of pride, notes the scholar article. Capitol display. Official program. The U.S. Department of State's Office of the Historian records detail the official program, including White House dinners and State Department's events where the emperor was received with military honors. Integration as a political statement. During these official receptions and displays, the presence of integrated black and white military personnel and government officials was a deliberate show of American progress and unity. Fireball, Selah. During these official receptions and display, The presence of integrated black and white military personnel and government officials was a deliberate show of American progress and unity, aligning with the Cold War narratives against Soviet racial claims. Significance. The event became a stage where both American diplomacy and black community aspirations converged. Fireball. Overstand this. Sila. During his 1954 state visit to the United States, Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia was honored with a historic display of integrated military personnel at the U.S. Capitol and the White House. This occurred shortly after the landmark Brown versus Board of Education decision, a time when the U.S. was highlighting its progress in racial integration to a global audience. Key details on display. Integrated honor guard upon his arrival in Washington, D.C. in May 1954, Kadamauri Haile Selassie was greeted by Vice President Richard Nixon and an integrated military honor guard. This was one of the first high-profile instances where black and white service members stood together in a formal reception for an African head of state at the nation's capital. Joint session of Congress on May 28, 1954. The Emperor addressed a joint session of Congress at the U.S. Capitol. The military presence during this event intentionally reflected the recent desegregation of the U.S. Armed Forces following Executive Order 9981 and the experiences of integrated units in the Korean War, of which His Majesty put forth the first unit, which was his Ethiopian army, and they built the rest of the forces of the world around His Majesty's army. Symbolic significance. The display of integrated troops was a deliberate move by Eisenhower administration to present a Cold War narrative of American progress and civil rights to a prominent African leader. Historical context. Desegregation timeline. By 1954, the U.S. military had largely completed the formal process of desegregation, a transition that was visibly during the Emperor's inspection of the troops. At the Katnu Battalion, Selassie followed the service of the Ethiopian Katnu Battalion in Korea, which had fought along integrated U.S. units, earning significant respect and military honors from the United States. Civil rights milestones. His visit coincided with early integration efforts in Washington, D.C., such as schools beginning to hold integrated classes just days before his arrival. Before the king came, they were trying to clean up everything. Because we remember, the king signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights with them on December 10th, 1948. And his victory came May 5th, 1941. So we got to understand the timelines that's going on here and how he stirred up jealousy like a man of war as he marched through the wilderness, as it said that he would do. Fireball, hot. And I will seal up today this session of the State of Neguselam right here and open up the floor before we seal up to any questions at this time. Stila. The floor is open to brethren and sisters. Highly. Yes, I.
Just want to give thanks and praises to the Most High, brethren. That was a blessed session here. Very rejuvenated. Give thanks and praises for all the Most High blessed I and I to do to bring forth Him blessings and to all honor and praise Him deserve. Give thanks and praises, beloved. Keep up the good I and I works, beloved. Rastafari.
Selah, Selah, Selah. Give thanks for the word sound. Highly. Yes, I. And I give thanks, Selah. Yes, I. And I give thanks once again for this state of Neguselam, the Tawahido Negus, the 3 Zions, season 2, section 4, part 4. The Tawahido Negus. The Negus golden rule: do not reward evil for evil. Do unto others as you will have them done unto you. At this time, if the chair is still with us, I will ask that the chair will play our national anthem so we can seal up this session of the state of Neguselam. Selah, Selah, Selah.
Yes,
Imagine when we listen. Audible.
Big Talk needs to keep growing, and I can't really do that without looking at the website. It was so easy working.
Swiftly gather, our children are gathered to thee, with orange, gold, and green floating o'er us, and our emperor to shield us from wrong, with our hope and our future before us. We hail and we chant and we sing. God bless our Negus high, who keeps Ethiopia free. To advance with truth and right. To advance with love and light. With righteousness leading, we hail to our God and our King. Humanity bleeding, one
Neguselam, Lekulekemu, Malcolm Negatu, Abakadus Kadamawe, Haile Selassie, Deyam, Exdebia, Sela, Sela.
Sila.
Neguselam, Lekulekemu, Malcolm Negatu, Abakadus Kadamawe, Haile Selassie, Deyam, Exdebia. Yunugusi Negestu Yedeli Meskeli, Ye Ethiopia Keheb Negusi, Ye Negusi Kedus the Wede. Amlakana Hailina Wasawana, Hasana, Sata Masagana, Amlakana Hailina Wasawana, Hasana, Sata Amasagana, 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 Amlakana Hailina Wasawana, Hasana, Sata Amasagana. The King of Peace be with us all. Blessed rising with the glorious King, our Holy Father, the victorious, first, might and power of the Holy Triune, the Lord's baptized and anointed King, the Emperor's cross of victory, Ethiopia's star King, the Emperor's holy coronation, our God, our strength, our protector. How beautiful are the feet of him that stand upon the mountains of Antauto, feet like unto burnt brass, who come with the good tidings of peace and of joy and of freedom, who comes in the most powerful name of our Amlak. Hasana. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Negus, a better Israel. Glory in the highest to our God, our strength, our protector. How beautiful are the feet of him that stand upon the mountains of Antauto, feet like unto burnt brass, who come with the good tidings of peace and of joy and of freedom, who comes in the most powerful name of our Amlak. Hasana. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Negus, a better Israel. Glory in the highest to our God, our strength, our protector. How beautiful are the feet of him that stand upon the mountains of Antauto, feet like unto burnt brass, who come with the good tidings of peace and of freedom and of joy. Glory in the highest to our God, our strength, our protector. Hasana. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the Negus, a better Israel. Because Israel's God is Israel's king, is Israel's protector, is better Israel, everything. Selah. Give thanks once again for everyone attending, for everyone coming in this strong for the blessed time. And I give thanks every time. Selah. Awake. Put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Neguselam, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Take thyself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose thy net, thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. For thus saith the Lord, you have sold yourselves for naught and have been redeemed, for naught. You have sold yourselves for naught and have been redeemed for naught. Without money. For thus saith the Lord, Exhibir, my people went down before time in the land, and the Assyrians oppressed them there. The Assyrians oppressed them there without a cause. Now therefore, what have I here, said the Lord, that my people is taken away for naught? They that rule over them make them to howl, said the Lord, and my name continually every day is blasphemy. Therefore, my people shall know my name. Therefore, they shall know in that day that I am he that do speak. Behold, it is I. How beautiful, beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publish peace, that bringeth good tidings of good, that publish salvation, that say unto Zion, thy God reigneth. Eli, how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publish peace, that bringeth good tidings of good, that publish salvation, that say unto Zion, thy Jah reigneth. Abakudus Kedamawe, Haile Selassie, Steyam, Exhibir, Stela, Stela, Stela. Give thanks. Blessed day to everyone. Neguselam, Stela.
Rastafari. Shalom, brother.
Yeah. Blessed love to everyone. Yes, sir. Neguselam.
Neguselam.
Lucky Mu. Malcolm Negatu. Abakadus. Maui, Karamawi. Haile Selassie. Siam, Exhibit. Blessed love.
Yes, sir.